Hey guys, what's going on? So I did it again, but this time it's not a project car. This one's a demo car, and sure enough, it is a W body. But you know what? We're gonna take it all the same. At least I got a demo car, because it is not easy right now to grab one. So sitting in front of you is a 2007 Chevrolet Impala. And this thing's pretty rotted. But it is a demo car, and we're gonna have fun. So yeah, let me just go once around and talk about basically a little bit about it. So I just picked this thing up today. It is a fresh today type of pickup. I just stripped it. I spent an hour stripping it out, and got the back bumpers, taillights, and a few other pieces from the trunk out, as well as basically the whole front end stripped apart. You guys will see it still has a back bumper on it. Anybody in New York knows that if it has a back bumper on it, it must not be too bad in the back for these W bodies. And you know, it's not great for sure, but it's really not terrible. I've seen a lot worse than this. Believe me, I've seen a lot worse than this. The rear frame over there is also in decent shape. My 07 Impala, actually, well, the other 07 Impala I have, what I used to drive on the road every day, was actually quite a bit worse off than what this car is. Not cosmetically, this car is definitely worse cosmetically. This thing really was in bad shape as far as cosmetic goes. But overall, this thing actually is in a little bit better shape. So that tells you just how bad my car was on the road. And this thing is pretty rotten right here where they're famous for rotting out. They're pretty bad about doing that on basically all W bodies. But this one's pretty bad, but it's not too bad. But we're going to be switching out these rims, obviously. These are actually probably going to end up going back to the original, or well, the owner to this car, maybe, I don't know. We've worked out a deal. It's a buddy of a buddy, and so. But like I said, I already got excited to start stripping out the front. Obviously, I took a little hit in this corner right here, but I'm not too concerned about it. I'm going to be taking this bumper off, putting on one of those forward freestyle bumpers anyway. That I've already picked it up, and it's ready to go to be put on the front of this car. The motor and transmission now work good. The engine was fine. The transmission, though, I knew something was off as soon as I got in the car and turned on the key, because around the park, let's go ahead and show you. I got the keys in here. When you put the key in the ignition and turn it to the on position in these cars, there's a little square around park. And this car didn't have that little square, which told me it didn't know what gear it's in, which led me back to thinking that the TCM, something might be wrong with the TCM. So I checked the codes, and sure enough, I couldn't communicate with the transmission control module. And so I started diagnosing it, and sure enough, the TCM was actually bad in this car. And I don't know how long it was being driven like that, but I tell you what, this thing barely moved forward at all. I really had to put it down to just make it move. So it wasn't good. And it was also terribly low on fluid. It was slipping otherwise, or anyway. So it was probably, I think it was 5 quarts low on fluid. So I put 5 quarts of transmission fluid in it, put a new TCM, and now the transmission works perfect. And just to mention, this is a very high mileage car. 239,810 miles on this thing. So definitely the highest mileage derby car. Actually, not by all that much, but by about 10,000 miles that I've ever derbied. So we'll see how that plays a role into how this thing handles the heat, if it even gets hot enough. But these Impalas do warm up very quickly. I'm always zoomed in again. Sorry guys, it's one of the hottest days it's been this year. It's for your southerners, it's gonna sound low, but today is 90, and it's July 6th today. But that's pretty hot for up here at this time of year, and not used to it yet. So, but here's the front unibody frame. Yes, it is pretty crusty, but I can assure you most of that is surface rust. I think I might actually go ahead and change that motor mount. It's looking pretty nasty under there. I don't want breaking motor mounts, guys. I've had enough of breaking motor mounts, especially with that 93 Regal. That's what ended up basically costing me in that Derby, was the broken motor mount, because I had no steering and at that point. But here's good news, is that this thing's gonna be running pretty soon, not in Madison County Fair, but probably either by about the end of this month in the Lewis County Fair or the Otsego County Fair. I don't think I'm gonna save this one for Herkimer. I do have possibly another car in the works for this year, so that's exciting. I may, and it is a W body. Yes, it's like an addiction, guys. I'm addicted to W bodies. What can I say? I'm sure once I get a Camry and I Derby a Camry, I'll be addicted to Camrys too. I do want to eventually Derby something else, maybe even something other than a GM again. I tried getting my hand on a Taurus, but that guy just doesn't want to sell his darn Taurus. It's been sitting there for years. Guy just doesn't want to sell it. You know, it is what it is. People are like that, so I can't fault him for it, because, well, we've had cars sitting in the yard for years that we haven't sold before, so it is what it is. Anywho, this is it. So stay tuned for more updates on the 2007 Chevrolet Impala Demolition Derby build. This is the first of the newer generation W bodies I'm going to be building, and it is a column shift car, by the way. I didn't expect it to be, especially with the spoiler. It's a very weird option to have. It's an LT as well, so it's the higher trim. I don't know why it has a column shifter, but you know, I'm used to the column shifter, so I'm fine with that. But yeah, stay tuned, and hopefully I'll be able to get you guys plenty of updates on this thing. I'll try to not get carried away with stripping it and building it without you guys, but I guess that's about it for this video. There's not much else to say. Like I said, my brain's fried from being in the heat all day. So, alrighty guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye everybody.